and it stuck with you like effortlessly well. Darni, I learned it. It was, a high rocket experience. And what was very different about this experience? It could be anywhere across your life, your career, your personal space. I learned this. I learned it across effortlessly. And this was the experience in one word. What would that be? It could be anything. Learning to drive a car, learning to cook, a 2-minute Maggie noodle, anything. You learned something new and effortlessly well. What is one word that comes to your mind about that learning? I'm quite sure learning to solve the Rubik's Cube. Wonderful, Ramesh. Thank you. What was that one thing which stuck, which is in your mind about that learning? Not judge people. Wow. That's something which all of us should learn together. Nice. Thank you. Brilliant. More about Greek mythology. Interesting, curious. Thanks, Marlene. We now know whom to contact for something which is ancient, which is beautiful. Reading every day. Wow. Thanks, Rudra. Voracious reader, I take it for. Nice. Learned to play tennis, loved it, was able to learn quickly, comes with health benefits as well. Right, Sharath? More about French as a language. Nice, Chaitali. Out of self-love. Wow, nothing like it. Thank you. I love what is coming up. Please, share that more. So today, why am I starting with this? Is we want to explore about the science behind how we learn best, and as learning and development or HR professionals, what are the few takeaways that we can go back with on how to align the learning design, which is the brain's natural process. So when I say harnessing science, it's about neuroscience. I'm a neuroscience buff. I come from that background as well. So whatever little that I could put in the next 35 minutes, we'll together be diving into how neuroscience or brain at work can transform the way we design learning experiences and also the way that we become learners ourselves. Because learning is definitely not just about knowledge transfer. It's about shaping our brains and creating a sustainable, lasting change. So that's typically what we will do. I have only 3 slides for the whole of this afternoon. I'll quickly take you through that and then we'll jump in. So this is what you all know. This is harnessing science, the topic as is. And these are the discussion items that we will go through: understanding the pathways, effective learning, how to design it for the cognitive engagement that we spoke about. We will pick up some case studies, industry case studies, some best practices. We'll try and implement on how to get a cognitive reflection. Lots of reflection, of course, like whatever you had shared now. A lot of unlearning together. Someone said that. So a lot of unlearning, learning and sharing. I would also love to get that from you. And some book reads that I've enjoyed, some stories that fascinated me, and some industry picks. So why I chose this particular topic when Naveen and his team came in, I'll tell you that purpose is very, very important. I always start with the why. So number one, understand the science of learning. We all design a lot, but knowing, being self-aware in that Johari window, all of that, all of us know, knowing, being self-aware of how to do certain things, why the way we do it. That's the first purpose of this topic. Bridging the gap, we might be doing something really extraordinarily well and something which is not going that well when you design something. So what is the gap? What is the delta that we should know? That's one of the purposes. And how do you empower leadership and growth? We keep telling empower the leaders, empower their growth, but how do you apply neuroscience? How do you put your brain at work to do that? And we all know we have to unlock potentials. We'll have to tap the tiny little potential in every individual. How do you do that? Why do you do that? And how do you transform your approach? If you're telling me, Darni, I consistently do these things and haywire, I don't see that outcome that I need every single time, we'll probably look into that. And what are we doing today? We'll talk about neuroscience, the basics of neuroscience. I'm not going to come up with a lot of jargons, but I'll directly jump into real world applications where neuroscience or brain at work was put in. Effective learning design, how can we apply this? Mindset definitely matters. We'll talk about growth and fixed mindset, which is across, a glorified concept, of course. Then habituation, how do you habituate designing like this? emotions and hormones that we put in, which will obviously result in a better retention. What are the engaging learning environments that I've been through or I've seen, and how can we utilize that? What are some practical applications that fantasies me, and that something that we can do together? So no more slides. This is a quick short thing that I wanted to share with, and we'll go ahead. Right now we know the agenda, why we are doing what we are doing. So understanding learning pathways was the first in our agenda, so let me drop in there. So in neuroscience we say neurons that fire together wire together, which is the Hebb's law, like the basic law that we start with. In today's context, for us, our webinar, it means that every single time a learner engages in a practical meaningful activity, or you designers engage in designing a beautiful learning practice for your learners, the brains are basically being building with a stronger connections, and we are making learning more durable. That's typically what this says, neurons that fire together wire together. And there is a beautiful concept that I love about brain at work is neuroplasticity, which many of you might have heard. So this is nothing but our ability, the brain's ability to rewire itself through experiences, which is age agnostic. If somebody says, I want to drive car when they hit 50 or 52, and there is someone who says you're 50 and you want to drive a car, next time go flaunt neuroplasticity to them. Say, you know what, our brain is with a beautiful ability to rewire itself, age agnostic. Even a dementia patient, if properly structured learning is there, they can also come back doing what they used to do. That's what typically happens in a dementia patient's rehab treatment, or the way the family brings them back. That's why they say if you have a dementia patient at home, talk about things that they love to do in the last 10 years or 20 years or 30 years. That's where you have the brain's ability to rewire itself from past experiences. How many of you have heard Dabbawala of India? Our own Mumbaikars, right? Yeah, I see quite a few. Similar to the Dabbawala case study that we've heard, which is also a Harvard specific, Cambridge specific, I've always been a lover of different case studies across the globe. And one such case study, which is in my heart for a very, very long time, close to about 2 decades now, is about London taxi drivers. So this somewhere around 2000, early 2000s, the London University neuroscientist did a beautiful MRI to understand how the London taxi drivers work. It's not Greek and Latin. To earn their license, if I want to become a London taxi driver, to earn my license, I will be made to memorize close to about 25,000 or 30,000 streets and landmarks without a GPS. Right then, of course, it was not there. So every single London driver had to go through a structured process training called the knowledge, which used to, I saw one of the interviews of one of the London taxi drivers where he said, it typically takes 3 to 4 years for us to complete the whole process, but we start somewhere with that. So this is one of the beautiful case studies that used to fascinate me. It still fascinates me for a very long time. And the MRI that the neuroscientist did, the outcome of that is also equally wonderful. It says that the MRI of drivers and non-drivers had a huge difference in that the London taxi drivers had larger hippocampus. If I say hippocampus in easier terms, it's one of the regions in brain which is responsible for navigation or spatial memory. So the more experienced a London driver is, the bigger their hippocampus was. It is nothing but neuroscience-backed learning, structured learning that was given to the London taxi drivers. Today we have GPS, of course, but think about 2000, 1999, 2000, 2001, somebody who knew 25 to 30,000 streets and landmarks at a jiffy, just at the back of their mind. So this is a brilliant example of neuroplasticity at work. Next time somebody is questioning your ability to learn something, come back with this case study, say, you know what, this is what it is. Tell your learners, if they don't have that conviction of doing their Python or doing their first time managers program really well, they say, I'm not skilled enough. Flaunt this case study to them, say this was an evidence back in 2000, and now we are 25 years young, and now you should not question this. So that's why you're talking about this. How is this even relevant to what we want to design as L&D professionals? This means how we design creates a lot of impact. Your context creates impact. Just like in this process, the knowledge process, the London taxi drivers had to go through a lot of real world applications. If there is traffic, what is the shortest route? They had real-time feedback as well. If I was 5 minutes late and the app shows I'm 5 minutes late, it'll say, you know what, Dharini, there is another person, Naveen, who did the same road 2 days back, 3 minutes lesser than you. That's a best practice. Go learn, go get tutored back and come back. So that's the feedback, live feedback that we're talking about. And let me pause with one question. This is probably a question to ponder, open question to ponder for yourselves. How often are we designing programs that engage the brain this deeply? Now that we know it can be done, and how often you as a learner was in a structured program like that, which engaged you so deeply? I'm leaving you with that question. But my next obvious question comes to you back. Put it in the chat window. Do you as an individual believe intelligence is fixed or it can be developed? Any kind of intelligence, human intelligence, or structured intelligence, emotional intelligence. Do you believe it can be developed or it's fixed? Okay, all right. Developed, it can be developed. All right, okay, fair enough. Thank you for sharing this thought. Thanks, keep it coming. Thank you, Meha. Thank you, Maha. Thank you, Akshaya. So why we bring this question is obviously getting transition to the next one. We spoke about mindset that matters. Uh, some may believe it's a fixed trait, and I've heard different people saying it can be developed, it cannot be developed. The question directly brings us to Dr. Carol Dweck, a glorified concept of growth mindset. She found that people generally operate with one of the two mindset, which is fixed and growth. All of us have gone through that huge tabular column which says fixed, da 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 da, growth mindset, 1 2 3, these things. I'm not getting into that at all. I'm probably getting into a practical implementation of growth mindset. All of us know Satya Nadella pretty well, and for what he did for Microsoft and things like that. So we'll take that as a case study to talk about mindset. So around 2014, when he took the chair as a CEO on Microsoft, Microsoft was typically struggling. They had all their identity was Windows, nothing except Microsoft Windows, and they had a huge conflict management. They had a lot of politics, a lot of unfavorable situation that went in there. And I read this, somewhere as part of the case studies which SMEs gave. So it is said that Satya Nadella's wife Anu had given him this book on growth mindset of Carol Dweck just as he uptrend the throne, and said, "Go through this. This might help you all." At that time, he never knew this is going to actually make a huge shift. After knowing that there is a constant dialogue, if you have followed Microsoft or Satya Nadella, that you would have heard in interviews over there in media, that he usually says, come from a shift basis of know it all attitude to a learn it all attitude. He was the first person to coin that, and it stays till now. So Dani, why are you talking about this now? How is it related? Because he embraced growth mindset not just from a theoretical book perspective. He partnered with NLI, which is called Neuro Leadership Institute. He wanted to completely culturally shift the way Microsoft worked. From then, in a year and a half, he redefined performance metrics. He redefined the way people thought culturally. All of them had to think about, I have to unlearn something today. What do I unlearn? What do I learn? What do I relearn? What do I share? Innovation started flourishing. So there is this identity of Microsoft Windows, from which they beautifully shifted to mobile first, cloud first. This concept also was embraced by Microsoft. They were the pioneers to come up with mobile first, cloud first. They brought Azure. They brought MS Teams. Without that, we'd not be connected today. They brought Surface. So you know where Microsoft is today. That's a big cultural shift and completely backed by neuroscience. So Dharani, what is the moral of the story? The EPS here is, if you embrace this knowingly, okay, consciously, if you know mindset shift is going to change the way my senior leaders are. There are senior leaders who will come back to you and say, I'm done and dusted. I've done my Harvard University leadership program. What new are you going to give me as my L&D professional? Go back, do a cultural shift first. Go back, do a mindset shift first. Embrace this. And obviously, anybody who has done that or dusted that is definitely going to have some unlearning, crack that unlearning and do this. So, okay, Dharmi. So you're talking about this, you're talking about challenges, you're talking about seeking feedback, all of this. But where does this land me as a designer? Let me pause before getting into the mechanisms of effective learning, which is our obvious transition from here. You have to know, if I create something, if I design something, as you say, Dharani, what is the effective learning methodologies or framework that I can impart? But before that, if you have any relevant questions, I'll take it through the chat window. You can keep it coming. There's an exclusive Q&A window for you. Just put it there, and we will time to time quickly look into it. If we are not able to do your questions within the 4 o'clock frame today, I'll definitely get back. I would be able to get the name list of whoever attended. I'll definitely write back to you if there are questions which I have unanswered by the end of this 4 o'clock space. Okay, so that being said, now we explored understanding how to do a learning pathway. So how do we convert it into a effective learning space? So I have, again, a couple of frameworks, probably books, I would say, from which I derive this as a framework. I tried this in the last 7 to 8 years, miraculously working for me. So this framework is from two things, which is Tiny Habits and Atomic Habits, which are two brilliant books if you are somebody who wants to get into habituation or make your learnings to your learners effective. If you have not gone through these books, please do go through BJ Fogg's Tiny Habits and the Atomic Habits by James. So why am I talking about this is, when you want to convert something into a framework, you have to habituate it. Just go back to the London driver space. If I'm a London driver, I get into something, I know there is the knowledge or something, and I know one of my peers took 3 years to complete it. Obviously I will be boggled. I'll say, no, I don't want to do this. I'll probably open something else. I'll open a petrol station. I'll open a departmental store. This is kind of difficult. So that's where habituation pops in. If you want to make your learners do continuous learning, which is probably a Bible word for us in L&D or HR, we want our folks to do continuous learning. So let's begin at looking how this can be done. All that Tiny Habits of BJ Fogg or Atomic Habits of James say is about starting small. For example, if you want to become a voracious reader, you can't do it overnight. All that these two books are telling you in a crux, in a single sentence, is if you are a caffeine lover, you 6:30 a.m. in the morning, you take your coffee, come watch me. Immediately after your coffee, do this. Read one page every day after your coffee. Start small. This becomes your habituation. This is backed by neuroscience. So this is called identity-based learning. What is my identity? I do this every day, come what me. I read my newspaper top down. I can even tell you in reverse from the last letter of what my newspaper was. If you are a newspaper, voracious newspaper goer every day, do this after your newspaper. If you want to start learning to cook, immediately after you complete your newspaper, just try and figure out how to start with a 2-minute noodle or something. This is called identity-based learning. Include this in your designing. Identity-based learning. What works really well for your learners? Say, for example, there is a leader who is obsessed with table tennis. Immediately after his 3 p.m. IST table tennis time with his peers every day, ask him to come back to this 15-minute stand-up call with you about a new framework. That is going to help him better than you sending a number of emailers saying, you know what, we have a 30 minutes call, do this, come here, I'm going to have the best of the world trainer. Not going to work. Pick the identity of your learner, attach it with your continuous learning, consistent learning. That's going to do all the talking for you. You need not even follow up. The next day after table tennis, he'll come back to you, to your cabin, and say, hey, yesterday you gave me something after table tennis. I'm free. Do you want to connect with me for 10 minutes? Believe me, this happened to me. This is definitely going to happen to you as well. So go through Tiny Habits, go through Atomic Habits. I'm just touching the 360-degree view, bird's eye view of it. One kind request is, here we're only embracing the top concepts of neuroscience. If you want to really take the outcome of it, go back, do your own R&D. Probably you'll be able to tell me more. Here, I'm also here to unlearn and learn from you. So you will probably be able to learn more and get back to me. So this makes it easier. So that means, okay, one thing is that, are you telling me just by reading Atomic Habits and the Tiny Habits, I'll be able to miraculously change everything the way my learners are doing it? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying this is one of the puzzle pieces that you can start with. Then figure out rest of the puzzle pieces which works better for you. You are an SME, you have credibility of wherever you are. You know what worked well for you earlier. So pick this as one of the puzzle pieces. Do your own pattern generation from your 10 years or 15 years of experience. Dharni, 1, 2, 3 worked for me. Add that with this puzzle piece, and you will probably able to come up with a novel, unique thing as a brilliant design for your learners. Now, okay, Dani, you're talking about all of this. So you had something called emotional and habituation. Where does emotional fit into it? Emotions, we are all, human beings are emotional animals, no denial there. All of us are equally emotional than anyone else. And in our daily lives, if there is something that we definitely don't forget, it's being emotional, either happy, either frustrated, either challenging, and all of it. So there is this small piece that I would like to touch upon in like probably 2-3 minutes, and then I'll jump into the next transition. This is called happy hormones, which probably all of you have heard because this is also flaunting the media in the last decade. Happy hormones are nothing but things that will make you a better version of yourself when you are not on the top of your better mood. When you're neutral, when you're below neutral, when you're not so successfully feeling content, and these are the happy hormones which will help you there. So then, okay, you're talking about happy hormones. How do I relate that with my learning? I know dopamine is there. I know oxytocin is there. We read that on a daily basis. There are a lot of newsletters I'm part of, a lot of communities I'm part of. How do you say this can be aligned to my learning design? Uh, a, a very easy answer to this is understand what each of these hormones does in context of your learning. For instance, dopamine. What does dopamine do? It reinforces, it motivates. Two basic things that dopamine can do. It will enhance your learning. That is where you come up with all the R&R platform, you gamify it, all of it comes under dopamine. Oxytocin, these are the top four that I'm talking about. Oxytocin is nothing but social learning. We had Yama earlier, we have MS Teams now. You'll have your own collaborative Slacks, your trust building exercises, all of it comes under oxytocin. Next comes endorphins. Endorphin is nothing but complete gamification. When you feel learning is better, that's when fun comes into the picture. For example, how many of you loved playing a Clash of Clans or a Tropic or something to do with not so brain activity? I'm not a chess person, but I can do something like a duck hunt, Dharni. I'm a millennial. I loved doing that because that's where your endorphins come. Identify what is fun for you. Something which is fun for me may not be fun for you. That is why in gamification, every single R&R portal will have multiple channels for you. There'll be a learning badge, there'll be a flaunting way in social media, there'll be points, there'll be redemptions. You can go redeem your Amazon voucher and all of this. Every single piece of this, the base of it is neuroscience, because learning is better when it is fun. Nati, I'm doing all of this. Absolutely, yes. We're all doing all of it. But if you remember the slide that I shared, why is important? Purpose. Why am I coming up with gamification? We all know gamification is needed. Why is gamification needed? If I know the purpose, I'll probably able to come up with novel idea instead of just putting, give me an icebreaker in Google. Instead of just saying, your AI is helping us a lot today. I'm going to do a 3-hour work for a leadership team. Give me 5 icebreakers, one every 15 minutes. It's going to throw you n number of games, but all of it is already there. You know your target audience better. Why are you doing gamification? To make it fun. What is fun for this particular audience? You might be part of a manufacturing sector. For a manufacturing sector, if I go talk about 2 truths and a lie, what are the 2 truths about you? What is one lie about you? I'm quite sure that is not going to go better. Talk something which is automobile, talk something which is manufacturing, talk something which is fun for them during their pantry times. Understand, do a demographic research, do an ethnographic research rather. Know your target audience. This is what we say, know your target audience. That's where your endorphins come. Serotonin obviously is about mood. It's about the stability of, retention of your memory. So for example, if I want to come up with okay, I'll tell this. This will probably give it as a summary. Recently in 2024, I came up with I read through an article which talks about Oxford University Psychiatry Department, what they did in the last year. So this is as recent as last year. to ensure that they had mood enhancing environment, they found out that serotonin levels or the mood generator hormones levels are reduced when there are sensitivity to punishing outcomes. For example, I want to go gambling. The psychiatry department found that Dharani, when she loses money in a game, her serotonin level actually reduces, which means I'm not stable, I'm not happy, I'm not contented. Obviously, what is the other space? When I win money. So there is this brilliant space for us L&D designers between losing money and winning money, how to show that you can win. How to move one step further from losing 5 rupees to losing 4 rupees. That's a brilliant way of enhancing it. How to become, if my Java programmer is writing 1,000 lines of code and his manager says, you're not fit for this 1,000 lines of code, everything is wrong. Give him a way where his training today with a 2-minute micro learning can make his 1,000 LOCs better with the 990 LOCs, and ask him to flaunt saying, this is where I've improved. That's called serotonin. How can he do that? Only if you give him that template of doing it by boosting the learning speed. You know what, yesterday I did this, today I did this. From here to here, I've come. So, hey, manager, you know what? I've progressed. Give me 2 months, I'll definitely progress. Show that progress, not perfection, is important when it comes to the emotional appeal of all of us. So let me do this. I'm talking a lot about emotions. I call this is my personal favorite when I talk to a group. I call it appreciation shout out. Appreciate yourselves in the chat window by typing one thing that you've accomplished in your journey in the last 1 year, maybe. This is one thing I want to appreciate myself. I forgot to appreciate myself, Dharni. Pat on the back. I'll do this. For example, I uh, I tried understanding the integrities of MBBS. One of my friend is a doctor. I wanted to sit with him and understand what it takes to actually become a PG from a UG. So that was something new which I did, which is nowhere relevant to me, but I wanted to understand that, and I'm happy about that. I've never appreciated myself for this, so I'm appreciating myself. Lost 15 kgs. Great, Tamanna. Please do share some thought process on that. There are people like me to pick that up. All right. Anything else? What do you want to appreciate yourself for? I'll give a minute. Learn about smart financial investing. Wow. Way to go. Definite appreciative inquiry. Nice. What else? Quit sweets. Wow. Completed 6 weeks A for HR program. Wonderful. Always wanted to do certification successfully. Okay. 93 pass percentage. Awesome, Sharad. Did my third master's. Wow. I was pregnant. Tell me about it. You're already a superheroine for me. Working a full-time job and scored 80%. That's brilliant. Learn about emotional intelligence. Brilliant. Novice in driving and cross 15 kilometers within 8 months. 15K kilometers. Brilliant. How many of you appreciated yourself for this before this? You need not put this in the chat window. Ask yourself, and every day start your day with appreciating you for something you did yesterday. This is how you regulate your serotonin, you regulate your happy hormones. Make the same thing back to your learners. Ask them, as part of your learning design, ask them what they did really well in terms of this. Say, for example, if you're creating a first-time managers program, ask them who is the manager that impressed you the most, and what is one quality that you want to take and work on. That's, ask them to write one each day and come back to you after 5 days. This is how you create their happy hormones throughout your 5 days of program or 2 days of program. When they start with that neutral mindset, your learning design is going to directly get a very good neural pathway, just like the London taxi drivers did. Okay, with this, let me go back to our agenda. So I know we flaunted that, but quickly, that you speak about dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins, and you're saying there should be something that you should do an action, do an idea. All of this is very easy for you to tell. How do I do it? Pick this. I've pasted something in the chat window. I just tried to incorporate quick few things that you can do or you're already doing, then yes, I'm already doing all of this, then no, this comes under this harmony. Take this back with you. The next time when you do an L&D design or you do create something new, check how many of these are inside your learning and development design. This is definitely going to help you out. Go back with this. This is not the only thing that you can do. Go back and do your research on each of these hormones and how you can take care of your own emotional intelligence. Someone said they started looking at emotional intelligence. If I'm right, it was Chaitali. Learn about emotional intelligence. This is one of the key pieces. How to make you happy even when you are in a neutral state. Do your R&D. Happy hormones, just top four. Take this at the back of your mind every single day. You're at a neutral space, you're at a very down space. Quickly pick yourself up with something which is already, you know this. If I have ice cream, I'll become better. Go do it. If I go on a ramp walk, I'll be better. Go crack your cafeteria, bring in your peers, say let's do a 2-minute ramp walk. I'm quite sure everybody's going to enjoy that, and you're going to enjoy that more than anybody. So quickly pick this back to you. So with that, we are getting to the next part of our segment, which is Tanya speaking about learning pathways, how we effectively sustain, how to habituate. All of this is good. How do I engage my learner? That is my problem, right? I know all of this. You're not telling me anything new. I've come across all of this. I've learned it myself. All of this is there. But how do I transition this into their cognitive abilities? How do I make them engaged at a cognitive level? So that's something we'll probably look in the next 5 minutes. What we are going to do is a quick reflection back. Initially, I asked you about a time when you learned something really well. Now, talk about a time that you spent good amount of time learning that, maybe 3 months, 6 months, a year. Dani, I spent 3 years learning that. Till date, I'm not good at that. What is that one thing? You did not put what it was. How was the experience in one word? Till date, this is not me, Dharni. I wanted to be somewhere. I'm learning it continuously, but somewhere it's not happening. If you think about that one thing which is not happening, what is your reflection? What is your one word? I know this needs some time to think. Let's take a minute. We'll stay here. This is very, very important for rest of the things that we'll talk in the next 10, 15 minutes. Procrastination. All right. Makes me feel like a slob for not picking it up after 3 months. All right. Okay. I feel you. Tiring, stressful, procrastination. Driving. Okay. What was that feeling? What is the experience that you feel thinking of driving? Somebody says tiring, stressful. Is it frustrating? Is it scared? Okay. This is a very good reflective exercise. People do this when you start your day. Do the first exercise that we did. What is that you want yourself to be appreciated for? Something you're not appreciating yourself enough. Before 1 hour or half an hour, no, not half an hour, before 1.5 hours of your sleep, ask yourself this question. I've been doing this for a long time. This is not happening well. What is that? This is how you habituate yourself about your happy hormones. When you are at rest, you should leave your brain to think about something, to be innovative, a different input that you should give for the same activity. All of these days, I gave apple in my mixer and I was expecting grape juice. What can be a different input? It could be a watermelon. It's okay, but it's at least a different input from an apple. Tomorrow, let me put a watermelon and see if I get grape juice. That's okay. You're at least trying different things. All of this is going back to your serotonin, your oxytocin, where you yourself feel that every single time I'm doing something new, I'm learning something new, you're habituating to trying something different, which might be a response for Rima's scary feeling. When I'm completely in my comfortable zone, I will do the same thing again and again and say it's not going to work. When I try 3 different things for the same activity, I'll probably come out of scared. We call this emotional connector. Tomorrow, I might think I'm scared and curious how to change it. and innovative on how to do better, and concerned what happens if I'm the same for the next 1 year. So far, Rima, your dominant thought was scared. That's why it is being a roadblock for your driving. From tomorrow, try this emotional connector. Yes, I'm scared. What are the other emotions that you have around driving? Write this on a daily basis. Think before you sleep. I'm quite sure you can crack, because the moment you know around driving, you have so many emotions. Your scary feel, the intensity of you being scared goes down. That's the first step of becoming neutral from your being low in your emotion. Try this out. It has worked for me. It need not work for you overnight. It may or may not work for you, but at least try something different and see if you can come out of that. Thanks, Rima. It needs a lot of uh, courage to put something like that. All of you who are sharing whatever you're saying, tiring or stressful or procrastination, if I were you as an audience, I might probably think about it but not put it there. It needs a lot of courage. Thank you, people, for doing it. That already shows you're on top of your emotions. Okay, so that, yes, we are speaking about all of this. What is that framework or model that I can try to engage my audiences? There is something called a scarf model. There is this path-breaking book that I came across maybe a decade back, which is Brain at Work by David Rock. So there is this model which I've been using in the last few years, which is called SCARF model. SCARF is nothing but status, certainty, autonomy. A for autonomy, R is relatedness, and F is fairness. Let me put it in the chat window as well, if that helps you. SCARF. Try this model. Let me not get into the details of it, because in the interest of time, I want to complete in the next 10 minutes or 12 minutes max. Status is nothing but when next time you want to create a design, or you want to learn something for yourself, you want to unlearn something for your own self as an individual, this is the one of the best frameworks that I've come across to influence your emotional and cognitive state. When I say emotional and cognitive state, I'm not talking about you not being happy, you not being feeling that pride in you, not that. I'm talking about a regular emotional state. I'm frustrated. I don't want to do this. This is not going to happen. I don't want to drive. This is not going to happen. I don't want to cook. I'm not a cooking material. Go back to neuroplasticity. All of us can learn anything at any time, at any age agnostic, gender agnostic, region agnostic, status agnostic. So come back to this SCARF framework for anything which is not working out for you. Status is nothing but you do a lot of micro credentials. You do a lot of 2-minute ones. If you want to you come up with a lot of manuals and you've got a new gadget, you want to quickly check who is doing, how to identify this feature, you quickly get into YouTube, which is a 1-minute video, and you come up with this, right? That's called status. It is increasing my status of being unaware of how to do it to how to do it. That how part is what your first format of that scarf shares with me. That's the status. It's about your measure, it's about your leaderboards, it's about your progress trackers. Next is certainty. If in my learning I don't have a proper agenda, I'm not telling my learner 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is what I'm going to do today. I don't have a proper clear roadmap. You get a new CEO onboarded. In the first 30, 60, 90 days, if your CEO is not coming up with a clear roadmap, at least he or she, they should be daring enough to come back and tell you, you know what, I don't know, I've not figured out things yet. Give me another 30 days. That's a clear roadmap. I don't know what to do. I'm sharing my vulnerability, because this certainty will reduce the anxiety of your learner. You as a learner feels more secure. Okay, there are others who are also looking like me. So that certainty is important. Third is autonomy. Autonomy is nothing but a sense of choice, right? I want to learn driving by mere simulation. Somebody like Maha probably would want to learn driving with a person who has done that, who she has seen driving really well. I want to learn like that. That's autonomy. Always in your L&D design, leave 10 to 20% as autonomy. Ask your learners to choose it for themselves. If you want to do it, do like this. Have an open autonomy space. Relatedness is nothing but social learning. If I am doing it along with Naveen, along with Chaitali, along with other people, I'm thinking about MS Teams. If I have to do something all alone, I want to become a master of excellent Excel formulas, advanced Excel formulas. I cannot do it all alone. That's called group problem solving. You co-create a problem and the solution. That's called relatedness. There are other people who don't know to even cook a 2-minute Maggie like me. Good social learning. I have a community. There are other people who don't know what to do, just like me. There are other people who have not figured out what I am in L&D, but is L&D my space? I don't even know that. There are other people like this who are like that. That's relatedness. Finally, is fairness. Bring in transparent goals and transparent evaluation rubric. Somebody spoke about rubric. Rubric is one of my favorites when it comes to game, because that clearly tells you what you have to do. There are so many colors, there are so many squares. Put everything in the same frame and you're done. You know when you're done, because all the squares, all the colors should be alike. That's why L&D's measure is always called evaluation rubric. This is one trivia that I learned from one of my mentors. We call it a rubric only when everything is fair right there. So these are not theoretical alone. I've tried to implement this in bits and pieces. It worked well for me. Go do that. And I'll take 2 more minutes to talk about SEAL Team 6. How many of you have heard about this SEAL Team 6? SEAL, Navy SEAL, SEAL 6. Okay. Navy SEALs, yeah. SEAL 6 is nothing but, thanks for sharing that. If I could put it like this, best of the best in this whole world, that's SEAL Team 6. They are the American Navy space. They are the Navy SEAL team. It's very, very difficult. I think close to about 6 or 9, 10 people will be filtered for 2 years or 3 years in a row to be a part of this SEAL. And that filter of SEALs happens from the already defense people in the US. So that is the amount of complexity to get into this. So then, why are we talking about this? This elite military unit, there are various interviews about SEAL 6 out there available in YouTube. Go check how people are recruited into SEAL. What are the basics of their trust and cognitive engagement? Why we're talking about it here is there are two basic things for a SEAL to be recruited. Number one, trust. Number two, cognitive ability. How much of pressure can you handle as a learner? So these are the two things that is very, very evident in a SEAL recruitment. What's fascinating to me is once it's SEAL unit, they are the ones who are installed to capture Osamas of the world. So you will know how much of intricate details will there be for a SEAL 6 to be done. So that SEAL 6 comes with a SCARF framework. That's why I'm relating this. The basis of their identity or the basis of them being SEALs, the SEALs they are, that comes from the base of SCARF framework from David Rock. So that's how important it is. SEALs have a life or death decisions. We don't have that, but we have corporate time bombs which are equivalent to life or death decision. Give me your ROI, give me your ROX, all of this, ROE, all of this is already there. So to know more about this, there is one person called Simon Sinek. I'm quite sure many of you would have come up with. He has this optimism company. It is out there in all the social medias that you can. If you don't know about him, go Google it out. Simon Sinek, Simonsinek. One of the best people to talk about purpose, power of why. One of his famous quotes, which I always relate to, is people don't buy what you do, but they buy why you do it. Same goes for learning, right? When learners understand the purpose behind them learning through SCARF or any other model that you bring in, they are motivated. Whether you want them to manufacture a toothbrush or a skyrocket, they'll be equally invested. One example that I'll give you, Apple, for instance, they don't train their employees on new tools, just train their employees on new tools. The initial 45 or 65, I'm not very sure about the number, 45 days or 65 days, they talk only about the why of the tool. Why this tool? They have different segments about why did we come into it? What drove us to innovate this product? What is the customer experience that we are enhancing with this? Why will this make a global impact? For close to about 2 months, they will talk only about this. and then comes your tool training. That's how important your SCARF model is, or the basis of this. I'll close in another 2-3 minutes. You think how to apply SCARF as a model. I'll only take one beautiful case study that always resonates with me, and I'll close it in the another 2-3 minutes. This is for the evidence-based application that we had in our agenda as a discussion space. We all know about the Mumbai Taj Hotel attack, right? How the Taj Hotel, when this happened, 26/11, this is also a Harvard case study for that matter. How the employees who were not top senior most people, who were not with Taj for close to about 25 years or 30 years, they were spanning between anywhere between 3 years and 12 or 14 years, if I remember it right. They showed a lot of heroic responses, and this became a case study in Harvard Business School, why they did what they did. That's the purpose. So that comes with a lot of detailed understanding. So why I'm talking about this is evidence-based application. And after doing a thorough case study, Harvard or Neuro Leadership Institute, all of them came up with 3 or 4 basic points, which was the trendsetter of why they were all that heroic. They were not taught to be heroic. They were not taught that there will be a terrorist attack. You have to do like this. You have to take care of empathy. You have to be empathizing the customer. Don't lead the customers. Nothing was taught. It was a life-threatening danger. I, as a staff member of Taj, I have my life at stake. But what motivated extraordinary actions from every single person who was there? Nobody in the explanation tried to save themselves. What was the hotel's culture of empathy? What was the autonomy? What was the preparedness that they had? What deeply influenced them to show that employee behavior? Neuroscience backs this as trust-based hiring. If you understand, uh, most of the hirings for Taj are done from tier 3 cities or sub tier 4-5 cities, because they believed that these people come from a community base. They have a better emotional intelligence because they've always seen real world completely different from the elites. They know taking care of my neighbor, taking care of my next fellow member is most important than taking care of me. And very, very important, throughout their 1 year of early career intervention in Taj or Tata, any Tata space, if somebody is from Tata, you might be able to add more. They talk about the vision, the purpose of Tata. That's called positive reinforcement, which we spoke about in the London driver's case as well. And we talk about do simulations, walk the talk, preach before you teach, and all of this. Everything comes in this particular case study. Go do your R&D about this case study. This is one brilliant evidence of how neuroscience can add value to your purpose. Why is important? How to make that why a common vision? Neuroscience will back you there. And finally, I'll leave with this. Unlearning to learn effectively is the best space. There's this one beautiful quote that I always remember when somebody speaks unlearning from Alvin. Alvin Toffler, his name is. This speaks about how to, if you're in the 21st century and you don't unlearn, he talks about all of us who don't unlearn or relearn. He says the illiterate of 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So this is a brilliant space. And for this, I will add one story which I urge all of you to go back and do. Kodak's failure. We all know how miserably Kodak failed. Probably the best moments many of us have from our childhood. Positive reinforcement. Go do a research on the Taj case study. Less positive reinforcement. Why Kodak did not miserably succeed? I mean, why did they did not succeed and miserably failed? That's because of this negative reinforcement, which I don't want to use. I'll say less positive reinforcement. Go do your research about these 2 case studies. You will understand brilliant ways of designing your learning paths. 2 things: positive reinforcement, Taj case study; less positive reinforcement, Kodak case study. Go through these 2 things, and that will talk for your cognitive reflection, which is the last part of our agenda, which is about spaced repetition. Again, go back to the London drivers, actively recalling it, you using poll questions or quizzes, pausing for real world application simulations, all of this. So again, the book recommendations I want to close with: Atomic Habits, Mindset of Carol Dweck, Brain at Work with David Rock I spoke about, and I spoke about Tiny habits. Yeah. There is this book, Why We Learn. That's my favorite as well. Why We Learn by Benedict Carey. Go through that as well. One final thought: learning has to be designed to align with how your brain works, right? You as a learner and as a designer will stop feeling like you're designing something. It'll be your life. It has happened to me. I'm quite sure it'll happen to all of you. Let me stop. Over to you, Naveen. Let me quickly check if there are questions in the chat. I know I was rushing through.
Yeah. So questions in the chat, we have in the Q&A, 2 questions as of now. Yeah.
Okay. I'll go there. We'll take 2 minutes. Checking that. How to drive change management to eventually build a learning culture in the organization? What are the first steps that one should follow? Purpose of change management, Rohit. Why are we doing this? If I'm someone who's been using Android forever in my life, and today I'm changing to Apple, why am I changing it? Is it because of a bandwagon effect? Is it because all my peers are getting into Apple? Let me get into Apple as well. What is the purpose of my change? If you crack that, that'll be my first step. If somebody's saying, Dharni, we have to change to a new LMS, my obvious questions will be, what is not serving you in the current LMS? Why are we changing? By changing, what are the outcomes that you are expecting? What will this outcome do to your business metric? How is this going to impact your top margin, your EBITDA, your CSAT, your NPS? That'll be my first question. So that'll be the first tip. Obviously, there are many other things to follow, but first thing is understand the purpose of your change management. And then obviously figuring out which change management model is it, ADKAR, 8 steps, model of Kotter, anything that you could reinvent your own model, all of it. Rohit, I think I answered. Please come back if you think there are follow-up questions. Tamanna, despite our efforts to make learning more engaging through videos, conversational slides, and fun learning activities, we still face challenges in fully engaging our learners. Could you please share your insights on why employees often find learning sessions uninteresting and suggest any additional strategies we might employ to improve engagement? Okay. I'll put it this way. This has to be a separate discussion by itself. I'll put a question back to the team, to everybody in the teams, and a small insight from my end, which I take from my experience as well, Tamanna. So there are 2 things. One, the same learner that I'm talking about who is not doing my internal assignments well will be somebody who's getting a 9.4 or a 9.5 grade in one of the Udemy courses or one of the external B schools or something. So it's not that my learner is not interested. It's not that my learner is not doing it right. The first question is, why are n number of my learners not interested in it? If my NPS is a 8, I might not be worried about it. If my NPS is a 7, I'll be concerned on how to pick my 7 to a 9. If my NPS is a 2 or a 3, then that's a red alert. That's the only point when I'll be looking at this, Tamanna. Why is it below a 5? If my NPS is a below 5, that's a red card. That's a big red signal. I should do a retrospective on the design. I should do a retrospective with each of the learners who said this is not interesting. Why is it not interesting? Go back to the purpose. What was the purpose with which they came here? If out of 35, 45 people here, close to about 37, 38 people are saying, Dharni, this session it didn't work for me. If you're saying that, I'll be concerned. If 20 of you are saying it's kind of worked for me, it's okay, I'll give a 7. And others are saying it's a 2, then I'll be concerned. I'll try to connect with you individually, because number one, Tamanna, as a designer, you will not be able to make everybody contented. If I'm looking at an 85% or a 90%, it'll be only after 2 years or 3 years of running it again and again. If you see all the B schools or the big universities or the big companies, they will say one of their programs is a flagship program probably after 3 years of doing it. They will never say immediately after 3 months or 4 months of doing a program, there's a flagship program, because it's a lot of evolution. So Tamanna, that's one thing, that's one insight from me. It's not that the learners are uninterested. There might be bits and pieces which are uninterested, or probably my learner is not looking at this at all. My learner is completely looking at a program management, but I'm asking them to do a product management. It could be some completely different area, but they are pushed into it because of their roles or whatever. So it could be multiple things, but to me, is it the learning that's uninteresting, or is it the bits and pieces, how I plattered the learning? Is that uninteresting? That will be my first point on it, Tamanna. Is that resonating with your question? Could probably put it. All right, I'm good. I think we are 2 minutes overboard. I'm good. If you have something else, you can get back to Naveen, or you can put it in the feedback link. Thank you so much. I know if we all had to unmute and speak and you were in video, it would have been more nice. But let's try and do it. Put the names of the books here in the chat box. I'll quickly do that, Ramesh. Yeah. Just a minute. I'll do that. After that, you can log off. For the interest of time, I'm only putting the name of the book. If you Google it out, you should be seeing the author for sure. Brain at work. Thank you. Thanks, Akshya. Why we log? Yeah, I think these are the ones I spoke about. Yeah, Ramesh. Thanks, Chetali. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Naveen. And I want to thank your team as well for doing this. A great opportunity for me to meet the fellow colleagues. Thank you.
Wow, Dharani, it was really a wonderful session. Wow is nothing. I think, you said about 90% of the people say if the session is good. I felt, I think 90%, more than 90% of the people would have definitely loved the session. You kept us engaged throughout the session with a lot of examples and also all the case study. And also you left with a thought for going through and do the research on the case studies. It was really absolutely an amazing and wonderful session. Thank you. And we will look forward to have you again for a different session. Anytime.
Pleasure's mine. Yeah. Thank you, fellow people. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful day ahead.
Yeah. See you.